We're two brothers and sisters. Welcome back to Haiku. I do, and it's about good hip hop music, man. Now, I always hear people talk about how ever since Emtee left Ambitious Entertainment, he now makes struggle music. Now, in a country where 30 million people, actually above that, more than 30 million people in this country live below the poverty line, and you have about 450 men literally committing suicide like every month, according to a study that was done. You would think that struggle music would actually be a thing, that millions of people would be consuming all this content because they understand and they relate to it. But that's actually not the case. And I think the reason is because a lot of people actually suffer from escapism, right? People don't want to listen to music that reflects their daily challenges and struggles. That's why soft life content is so big in this country. It's because people want to log onto Instagram, they want to see beautiful pictures of women, alcohol, food, and nice life traveling. They want to listen to music about girls in the club and all that stuff. People don't want to be reminded of their daily struggles. Nobody wants to hear Emtee talk about how difficult life is, which I think is very unfortunate. But at the end of the day, hey, this is not a podcast. I'm just here to talk about the music. So yeah, on today's album review, I wanna look at Emtee's album called Logan, which came out in April 2021. And yeah, there's a lot to get into on this album. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this review. Now, if you look at the content of this album, starting with the features, it's got quite a few features, and the first of being, there's a Malawian rapper by the name Gwamba. He features on a song called Zoimela, and he raps in English and another Malawian language. I think it's Chichewa or one of the other native languages there. And the thing about this feature is, I really like this guy is really not that nice with it, and I feel like there's so many dope African rappers that Emtee could have featured on this song, and unfortunately Wamba is just not one of them. So I'm really not sure how this feature happened. I mean, if he paid Emtee to feature on the song, then it would make more sense, for publicity and stuff, because I know that this guy is actually quite affiliated with that notorious pastor Bushiri or something. So if he actually is the one who paid to be featured on the song, then it would make more sense to me, because from an artistic point of view, I really don't see why this collaboration really had to happen. Like, this guy is just not that nice with it. And then on a song called Brand New Day, which is track number 10, you've got Loli Native, who features there, who is a Xhosa rapper. I think he's originally from the Eastern Cape. And I think how he made it here is because I think he's actually the first artist to be signed under Emtee's record label called Emtee Records. I think he was one of the first artists to be signed. So this is kind of like a put on, for him. And it's a dope put on because the song, I mean, it's a really brilliant song, and I don't really think he's nice with it that way. But because it's a feature, you can't really, you can't hate on a put on. You can't hate on a put on. So on a song called Sam Sokolo, which is track number 12, Emtee features Musli. Now, Musli, I really like her as a person, but as a rapper, I kind of feel like, because she has this thing of trying to channel, Griselda Blanco on one end, and then trying to also channel like a new age Mapr at the same time. And for me, I feel like she really needs to pick a struggle. Like, if she wants to be dope with the whole rapping in English, she must just focus on that and try to get that right. Or if she wants to go Venek way, she must do that. But she can't do both, because she's not, her pen isn't that great. So I don't know why she kind of, I'm really, that whole trying to put together two characters, it's not landing with me. So even here on this feature, I'm really not feeling her. I think I would have went more with someone like a Questa or like a Kid X. I feel like they would have been a perfect person to collaborate with on the song, or even a Casper, with his big brand. I really feel like they could have catapulted the song to the heights it really deserves to be in, because I feel like this song actually could really bring Kwaito back. It's got that nice Kwaito feel about it. So Yeah, and then you've got a song called All My Life, which is track number 14, and Emtee features a guy by the name Takshop Bafanas. Now, I had to Google this person because I didn't know who he was, and then when I saw the picture, I realized, no man, it's this guy. He's an actor on ETV's Scandal. I'm not sure if he's still there, but I saw that he's an actor there on the Scandal. Now, credit where it's due, he really came through on the song. I mean, I think he kind of made the song, to an extent. So Brother Man really came through, even though it was a very controversial feature, because I remember when the song actually came out, this guy was not actually credited, and then he went on social media, he was blasting Emtee there about why he wasn't credited on the song. Emtee's team had to go back to actually make changes, so that he gets included onto the credits. And yeah, that relationship completely fell apart, because even after they made the alterations, he still went on some podcast and talking shit about how Emtee wasn't showing him appreciation and stuff like that. So it was really unfortunate to see such a beautiful artistic relationship actually fall apart on the outside the way it did. And yeah, but Takshop Bafanas really came through there, because he's got that whole Maskandi feel about him going on, which just took the song to the next level. I feel like the only way this song could have been even better than it actually is if Emtee had featured, there's a guy by the name Zugulu, who is a Maskandi artist signed under 1020 Cartel, which is a record label by Java and Raf. And I feel like, yeah, if they had brought Mzulu on this track, maybe he would have also added some guitar vibe to it, that Maskandi thing. I feel like they would have completely destroyed the song. But yeah, it's still a dope song nonetheless, man. It takes you places. And then on a song called La Kasha, which is the 15th track, rest in peace to Joe Mafela. If you know the character La Kasha is from that Scooby's Nice TV show. And here they feature again Loli Native and another okay rapper by the name Flash Ukumkani, who's also from the Eastern Cape, right? Now, the reason I'm not so sold on these guys' raps is because I feel like, even though they are catering to a very niche market with the whole Xhosa raps, Xhosa is such a rich, dense, and humorous language that I feel like these guys are really not doing it justice. It's almost as if they are rapping like they are their own competition, so they're really not trying to push their pen game to the level that they need to be taking it. I mean, if you look at people like 25K and Tato Soul, I mean, they're really spitting fire on a high octane level right now. Even though it's a type of music that's basically like for a niche market of people who understand the language, but they're really putting in the work. And I feel like these guys, man, they're not doing a really good job at, trying to basically put Xhosa raps like at a level where it needs to be. They're really not pushing their pen game. So that's the reason why for me, I kind of feel like they're okay rappers. So even their features on this song, I kind of feel like it still would have been a good song otherwise, even if it was just Emtee, without these guys' verses. But I mean, it's a good song nonetheless. And then on the last track called Come Closer, which is track 16, we've got J Smash, who is a producer, and he's also a DJ, I think. Yeah, he comes all the way from Limpopo, and I think that's why him and Mesh Beats, are actually so close lately. I think he's also on the video for Never Ride. He's the guy there. He's got this haircut. He looks like Khaled, with this straight haircut type of vibe. So for those who don't know who J Smash is. And yeah, that's it with the features. And then when it comes to the storytelling on this album, I mean, it is very, very intense. Like, I feel like Emtee on this album, he was really putting his feelings and heart onto the music. He was really being vulnerable. I mean, on songs like Revolutionary, which is an intro, like, I think it kind of sets the whole tone for the whole album, where he talks about everything that he's been through and why he feels like he's a revolutionary for having made it through everything that he's been through. Then he gets on Logan, where he talks about his son, the relationship that he has with his child, and then on a song like Long Way, which is actually a romantic song, and he takes you through his love for his woman. I mean, he says, I fucks with you the long way because you give me peace after a long day. Like it's such a beautiful love song, man. And he even gets into a pocket where he talks about he's actually denouncing women abuse, to say, guys must never abuse. And he's even sending a message to his kids as well, to say when they grow up, they need to treat women in the right way. So, man, the storytelling, it really, really takes you on a journey. You've got a song like Itemba, when he's speaking about hope. And you can really feel how vulnerable he actually gets, talking about everything that he's experienced, when being broke, talking about depression that he's experienced, talking about, his addiction. Well, not, he doesn't put it as an addiction, but the fact that he used to use certain substances, to make it through. So he's really pouring his heart out on this album. So the storytelling, man, it's so intense. And then it's got a song like Family as well, when you talk about how important his family is to him. So the storytelling overall, it's really intense. It really goes there. But when it comes to the bars and the wordplay, it's not Emtee. Emtee doesn't bring it to you like that. In fact, the more you try to look for lyricism with Emtee, that's more you start to realize that he actually makes nursery rhymes. I mean, he's got lines like something about I pull up on a nigga like Botinikau, which is like, dude, that's like so high school, like primary school even. I know Proverb has got a line in one of his songs where he says something about your rhymes are basic, they're first standard like third grade. And I feel like he's talking about Emtee there, because Emtee's lines, they're really basic. Like if you're looking for lyricism and complex wordplay and all that nice stuff that we like, from lyricists, you're not going to find that. Emtee is actually a feeling, right? His melodies, how he puts his vocals on songs, it's all about a feeling. And if you can appreciate that, then I definitely feel like you'll appreciate this album. So yeah, and as far as the content is concerned, I really wanted to give it a 10 out of 10. But because obviously, it's a rap album, we definitely need those bars, we need those metaphors. And since we don't have that, I think I'll just have to give this project an 8 out of 10. Now, on one of the songs here, I don't remember which song it was, but there's a line where Emtee says that he's never had to pay for a beat in his whole life, right? And I think the reason he's saying that is because Raf has actually been handling Emtee's production since day one. Right? So he's kind of like his friend slash, vocal engineer slash beat maker slash producer. So he's the guy who makes sure that Emtee sounds the way that he does, and he takes the direction that he takes artistically. So half of this project is actually handled by Raf when it comes to production, but he also went to get other producers to come and work on the project as well, so that it kind of gives the project different texture to it, so that it doesn't sound monotonous or anything. So even though there is a variation in the sound, but he also makes sure that everything sounds cohesive sonically, so that the album doesn't go all kind of different places. Because for the messaging that Emtee is portraying in this album, even though they're using a lot of trap beats, but it's trap beats that actually have a lot of depth to them, right? They've got a lot of depth, and they kind of speak to the tone of the whole album. So it's not like your trap in a club kind of music, right? It's trap beats, but they have a lot of depth. They're very grounded, and there's a lot behind. Like when you listen to how Emtee's melodies actually blend with the instruments within the music, it takes the whole trap thing and puts it in a whole different bracket on its own. And I think that's pretty much why I consider Emtee to be the king of African trap, right? Because what he's able to do, like if you look at the production on this whole album, right? When I first started listening to it, I think when I got to a track, that track called Sam Sokol, because it's got that quite a feel to it, I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then as I progressed to listen to the album, and I got to a song like Come Closer, which is the last song, which has got a lot of Afro beats, I think that's when it started to dawn on me that, if you're a king of African trap, there's definitely certain elements that you need to incorporate into your production. You need a Kwaito-esque type of a vibe to the album. You need an Afrobeats type of feel to it. You know, you need a summer song like Slide, which is a very dope summer song. You know, the summer that we used to enjoy before COVID anyway. You know, so when you look at it sonically, everything kind of plays into the idea that Emtee definitely is the king of African trap, right? Even though now he's not making the kind of trap music that you play at a club, but it's still trap music that actually has meaning and has a lot of depth, and he is able to play around with all those different other type of sounds like Kwaito-esque and, you know, the Afro beats as well. In fact, when I look at the Afrobeat song, I feel like Gwamba actually should have featured on this song called Come Closer, because Gwamba is the Malawian guy who raps in a language I can't understand. Because every time I hear an Afrobeat song, I'm expecting to hear someone either sing or rap in a language I don't understand. So if they'd put Gwamba on the song Come Closer, I feel like he would have been a perfect fit there. But yeah, man, the production on this, I mean, it's really, it's amazing. And if I'm really being nitpicky about it, the song La Kasha, the mixing and mastering on that song, especially when it comes to the snare, right? And I'm not a producer. I think I really need to learn these producer terms. But the snare on that song, it just kind of sounds tucked to me. And like I said, I'm really being, you know, nitpicky, and I feel like most people literally won't even notice or even care. So yeah, with that aside, I feel like the production on this album definitely is a 10 out of 10. Now, when looking at the replay value of the project, you've got 16 beautiful pieces of music, very beautiful, well crafted, well put together, no interludes, no skips. You know, everything, like the whole album just kind of flows. So the whole track listing for me is just impeccable. And the thing is, I think even if the sequencing on this album was off, I really wouldn't be able to tell, because the music for me is just that good. Like I just put it on and I just let it play, and then it ends and then I let it play again. So it's really a well put together project. I'm completely sold, even though it's like 16 tracks, which, you know, by today's standards is quite long. And these are not like short type of songs, you know. You're getting, I think, a good 3 to 4 minute, some even 5 minute songs. So yeah, I'm definitely sold on this project, and I'm definitely going to give it a biased 10 out of 10 for the replay value. Now, does the album have a concept? It does. It has a basic concept. So the first project was called Avery, which was dedicated to his first son. And this album is called Logan, which is dedicated to his second son. So on the artwork of the album, you'll see there's a picture of Logan, and he's wearing 2 chains. Basically, he's looking like his father, right? Now, does the music tie up to the concept of the album? It definitely does. And one of the lead singles on the album is called Logan, which is the song that is dedicated to his son. And what you notice is, even on all the other different songs where he's tackling, you know, different things about his life and everything that he's been through, he always mentions, you know, in a line or two, that, yo, I'm doing this for my sons, right? That I'm doing this for my family, that he's doing this for his family, you know. So it's like there's a whole common thread throughout the whole album that links the project to family, and that's what it's really the echoing sound on this whole entire project, which I think is very beautiful. I mean, the whole project for me is a very heartfelt experience. And, you know, if I'm really being honest, I don't even think Emtee really needed features on this album. I feel like he was very much capable of making this album sound as good as it actually does, even without the features. I mean, I've never in the history of SA music know of any rapper who's able to sing like the choruses on a whole 16 track album, do his own choruses and still have it sound as good as it does. So yeah, there's never been a rapper so good for this long on so many choruses and hooks. Like, I think it's a hip-hop anomaly at this point. So yeah, man, there really isn't much for me to say, except for the fact that this project right now, I feel like it is the only South African hip hop project out there which has the kind of heart that this project does. Now, I don't think there's anything else quite like it out there, and you can definitely quote me on that. So yeah, that is actually the end to my review of Emtee's album called Logan. And yeah, remember, man, take care of your mental, and peace, love. I'm out of here.